I'm going to show you guys how I made my easy and delicious telera bread, and it's perfect for tortas, and this bread came out super fluffy and soft. So for the ingredients, we're going to need flour, salt, yeast, sugar, vegetable shortening, and also some water. To my bowl, I'm going to add in my flour, my salt, my yeast, and my sugar. We're going to mix all the dry ingredients together, and then we're going to mix it until everything is mixed into the flour. And now after that, we're going to add in our wet ingredients, and we're going to add in our shortening. I'm going to add in my vegetable shortening. I'm going to mix it together until it looks like sand, but you really want to mix it together until all of the vegetable shortening is like into smaller pieces and it's combined into the flour like this. Once I'm done doing that, I'm going to slowly and gradually add in my water to my flour mixture. And you want to use warm water. If you guys want the recipe to this, I'll comment down below the full recipe. And yeah, I'm just going to add my water until it forms into a dough and until the flour is hydrated. So once I'm done pouring the water in, I added a little bit of extra water, but after I was done pouring the water in, this is how the dough looked. I just added some flour onto the counter, and now I'm just going to mix it, and I'm just going to knead it for about 10 minutes until it's nice, until it's formed a nice round dough. As you see here, me mixing it, it starts to become less stickier, and it just needs to be kneaded. So here I added some more flour, and I'm going to continue to knead. And as you see, the dough gets less stickier and stickier. So the more you work your dough, the less stickier it gets. And I did work my dough for about 10 minutes or a little bit longer. But this is how your dough should come together. And this bread could last up to about a day and a half or 2 days. Like for fresh bread, if you still want it to be soft. I'm just going to continue to mix or to knead my bread. And for this recipe, I use all-purpose flour. If you wanted to use bread flour, you could. But yeah, as you can see, you see the dough is has separate or like different stages of how it looks. It was just sticky, and then the more I kneaded it, the less it became stickier. And then here I don't even need flour to add to the counter for it not to stick. It just becomes so soft, and it doesn't need any flour eventually. I'm going to grease my glass bowl, and I'm going to place my dough inside, and I'm going to grease, and I'm going to add oil to the bottom and the top of my dough. I'm going to cover my dough with plastic wrap, and I'm going to let this rise. Once my dough has risen, I'm going to gently punch into the dough, and I'm going to pull the dough away from the bowls. Away from the side of the bowl. And as you can see, this dough is really nice and soft, and it's very easy to work with. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of flour onto my counter, and I'm going to form my dough into the shape that I want it to be in so that I can cut it. So here I am cutting my dough. As you can see here, I'm just going to cut my dough in 6 pieces. If you wanted more dough or more bread, you can just double this recipe. I will have the recipe linked in the description box if you guys want to make this. And I'm just going to cut my dough, and then I'm going to form my dough. I'm just going to make it into a ball, and then I'm going to place it onto the counter. And I'm going to flatten my dough down, but not a lot, but just like this. As you guys are going to see here, like this. I'm going to gently press down on my dough, not making it too flat. And whatever you have, you can use a straw to make these lines in your dough. I just used a butter knife. And yeah, I'm just going to do this to the rest of my dough. I'm just going to flatten it out. And I'm going to use my butter knife to make the prints in my dough. Yeah, once I repeat this with the rest of my dough, I'm going to place all of my dough into my pan. And like I said, you guys can use whatever works for you to make the lines in your dough. But yeah, once they're done, I'm going to place them on a pan. I'm going to place them in my oven. And my oven is not preheated or on. I'm just setting them in there to rise. And you do not want to turn your oven on this process. I'm just letting them rise in the oven. So once they have risen, I'm going to place them in the oven and cook them for 12 minutes, and then I'm going to go in with some water and like brush the water over the bread. And I'm going to place them back into the oven to cook for another 12 minutes. And once they're done, this is how they look. They're nice and golden brown. And I did put the telera bread on broil for just about a minute and a half. And yeah, it came out super fluffy and soft and delicious. And so this bread is perfect for your tortas. And yeah, it's super soft. And I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. Follow me on everything. Adios.